Well, good morning, everyone. I really didn't expect to be back tonight because I've had a cold and I can't stop coughing. And after Mick had mirrored one of my videos, there were a few comments about my clearing my throat and my coughing. So I decided to skip off the videos for a few days, but here I am. And I apologize if I do cough a little bit during this video, but I've been thinking a lot about the dreams that I've had and what has led me to being connected with you guys right now and why I'm doing the videos. And this image is pretty important to me and to the dreams and the really very tangible connection I feel to the memory of this culture and this civilization. This is something that came up for me a lot, these sort of malls with glass roofs and ceilings, with trees inside and all kinds of sort of, basically glassed in, domed interiors. And it got me thinking about the Crystal Palace. And I'm just going to turn this down just a wee bit more than that. So my mom was a war baby in England, and her grandfather was an auctioneer in Lytham St. Anne's. And as a war child, she didn't have a lot of things, and certain things were really, really very precious to her. And she had a balloon that she had for a very long time, and she called it Crystal Palace after the building in London. And so I started Googling Crystal Palace, and what you get a lot is this, because there's a team called Crystal Palace. But anyway, and it really started to hit me because I've been watching everyone's videos. There are a lot of Crystal Palaces, and they're called Crystal Palace. And I only went through a couple of them because I didn't think this video was going to be super long tonight because I am still coughing. So I just kind of wanted to just get to the point and kind of see what you guys think about this. Oh wow, yeah, that really doesn't let me magnify in much at all. So this is the Crystal Palace in London. Here we have, right here, general view of the interior Crystal Palace in London. And here's a few more. I just love this one so much. There's beautiful shots of this tree and many, many different shots of Crystal Palace. And here we are not having an exhibition inside Crystal Palace. This is Crystal Palace in Madrid. Here is another shot of Crystal Palace in London. And note the towers. These towers seem to be kind of significant. And I would also just note the fountains and the steps up. It reminds me a little bit about Versailles. Here's a lovely aerial shot of Crystal Palace Tower right here. I mean, when they say this was built for an exhibition, I mean, this is totally ridiculous. Look at that. The sheer number of glass plates alone is just outrageous. I mean, I think that's even another piece of it right over there. Okay, let's keep going. This, I thought there was a Crystal Palace in Brighton. I don't know why, but I somehow remembered that. Anyway, this is a building. Brighton Palace still exists. Still there. So, this is actually in the Riviera. I grew up part of my life in France. I lived in Nice and Villefranche. And this is a pier palace in the south of France. This could be Cannes. This looks pretty clean. Don't think it's Nice. Mind you, it was quite a while ago. So, okay. This is called the Alexandra Palace. Now, this came up when I Googled Crystal Palace. And I can't get a closer shot of that. And I don't know much more than that. But anyway, that is the Alexandra Palace. The fairgrounds, apparently. And this is just so beautiful. This is Madeira. Brighton. Just, I mean, this was, our heyday, guys. It's so beautiful. So beautiful. Okay, Brighton Tower from the pier. Okay, so we might not have a Crystal Palace there anymore. There may have been one. But here's another big tower, okay? Does this not remind you of the Eiffel Tower, maybe? Okay, maybe, maybe not. This is the Crystal Palace in Toronto. Very similar, is it not? Especially this part. Okay, I'm not seeing the Eiffel Tower down here, but this is down at the exhibition stadiums, CNE, Canadian National Exhibition, which I'm going to do a lot more work on. Here is another. This is another Crystal Palace in Toronto. So they built two. I'm not entirely sure because these are hardly the same, and yet this is also Canada, the Crystal Palace at Toronto in 1858. So what? Again, another Crystal Palace. This was written under Crystal Palace, Toronto. And this one, it says 1928. Now, this could be Allen Gardens, but I have current shots of Allen Gardens that doesn't look like that. Anyway, note the antenna. Oh, San Francisco. Okay, that's a separate, slightly separate thing. Okay, here is another Crystal Palace. I believe this was the Parisian one. This just blows my mind. This is an interior. It's called the Mother of the Forest. London Crystal Palace. Now, I believe that I did... No, I googled... where is it? I did, and then it went. Oh, my music's gonna end, but that's okay. I don't really care. Oh, pneumatic tubes. That's another of my favorites. Here we go. New York Crystal Palace. Here we go. Another antenna, looking very similar to the Eiffel Tower. Interior of the New York Crystal Palace. Again, the same semicircular window that looks just like the patterns of what is it? I can't actually remember the terminology that I'm looking for, but basically this is the half of the Rosicrucian windows that you see in the churches and the cathedrals. And this is apparently, you know, the Crystal Palace being built, of course. There's only drawings of that. Anyway, I'm not coughing, so I'm just going to keep going for a few more minutes. So I reignited my Pinterest account, and this lady here, Diana De Nicola, she's got a really great account. Some beautiful stuff in here. This is just another Crystal Palace here. Right? More Crystal Palaces. Palm House, Royal Botanical Gardens, Palm Conservatories of Schönbrunn Palace in Vienna, which is this one, I'm assuming. This page is really fantastic. I mean, look at this stuff. The Scion House Conservatory. Like these windows here. The Crystal Palace in Madrid. Oh yeah, this one. The Restauration Fabricant de Verandas. So this is like the fabrication of verandas, apparently. The making, the creation of verandas. And it goes on, and there's so many here. The Winter Garden. I mean, look at all of these Crystal Palaces. Abandoned 19th century greenhouse, France. So what were these Crystal Palaces? You know, this is, it really, I cannot help but think, oh, I've seen this picture before, it's beautiful. I cannot help but think that these, you know, as we have seen these different videos of different, you know, colonnaded palaces and everything is the same over and over and over again. And here we go again, Crystal Palaces. So I would really love to know what you guys think of the Crystal Palaces. What were they for? Kew Gardens, right? I mean, these things are clearly the most incredible places. And so here we are with we have the greenhouse, right? The greenhouse, the Crystal Palace, and the sort of antenna. So I'm curious as to what you guys think is going on there. So as I was digging, I found this really great article. New York City's shortest lived buildings. because one of the things that came up was Penn Station. Anyway, I just wanted to just very quickly before I go through this, before I finish this, I wanted to go through this article with you guys. So the Gillinder building, 13 years it lasted. Now this is, unfortunately, this is one of those like clickbaity type articles. But I mean, some of these buildings are just crazy. Like the Windsor Arcade here in New York, 10 years. And I can't get in there more, but there's like full-on statues. And of course they take all the statues off. They're always leaving, you know, these little areas where the statue should be. There's Crystal Palace in London. Sounds like the cough is back. Or Paris, sorry, that was the Paris one. No, that was the London one, I'm sorry. That's Grand Central Station. And they tell you how long these things were up for. So this one was, what, 3 years, I think it was? 2 years. Yeah, Mount Vernon replica. Right. Excuse me. This one here. Less than 3 years, Grand Central Station. Built that. 3 years later. Gone. Don't want it anymore. It's yucky. We just don't want it because it's so ugly. Right? I mean, what? Anyway, so untapped cities. Check it out. 9 shortest lived buildings in New York. I also really, really wanted to show you guys this one. Unrecognizable Paris, the monuments that vanished. Okay, this is pretty much specifically about the World Fair. Okay, in my last thank you video, this image, not this image, but this blimp was in an image, and it's just so wonky. Looks like a sweet potato flying in the sky. I love it. And I do love my dirigibles. Okay, look at Paris. Fantastic Paris. I'm actually trying to draw Paris right now. So this picture makes me very happy. Because I like to draw on black. Okay. So here we go. Paris in its glory. So beautiful. And look, I love the spotlight. Spotlight on this guy. And that guy. And that guy. So cool. I love it. Okay, they're really just loving the Eiffel Tower in this picture, so let's keep going. Doo-doo-doo. Right? Why did they get rid of these guys, right? Oh, it's just so ugly. Let's just knock them down. And these partial colorized pictures, they're so hokey, but they're kind of neat because they do give you a slightly different, you know, jolt when you look at the pictures. That was just wonk. Look at that. Vieux Paris, no doubt. It's like falling apart. It's busted out, guys. And that looks like, I don't even know, like the Queen of Sheba's bed or something. It's so crazy looking. And I love this. Like, this lady's like taking a crazy old tumble. Just going bum over tea kettle there on the old moving sidewalk, which has, of course, right, the antenna, because that's how everything moves. Now, this is where things start getting fun. So, double-decker, like, train tram? I don't know. Super cool. Yeah. Right? We just slapped this together for the World's Fair. No biggie. Oh, we're going to tear it down after. Because nobody likes it. Because it's really ugly. And we're going to build the Louvre instead. Like, this is beautiful. That looks like an exotic dessert. I don't know why these buildings often remind me of some kind of dessert that I would really like. What is that? I must say, when you see a big pillar pumping out that, it really does stand out. There's none of that in any of these other pictures. There is no smoke. There's nothing of that stuff. Okay, this is the picture. This is the whole reason I wanted to show you this. This was in Paris. Built, of course, exclusively for the World Fair. It didn't exist before or after. But for that incredibly short period of time, they decided to embellish the heck out of this. Put elephants, onion dome shapes, all kinds of really intricate Indian, right? Hindu, cows, horses. Now, of course, England has an incredibly, what should I say, strong and ancient horse culture in the south. On the chalk hills, you can see them. So I don't know exactly what's going on with that horse culture and how does that fit in with the new timeline and our new understanding of who we are and how we are and where we are. Anyway, I don't know if any of you guys have seen any of these pictures from the Paris World Fair, but I certainly hadn't. And this just really hit me. You just don't see smoke like that. You don't see big, thick columns of black smoke pouring out of anything back here. And these buildings, I mean, I have genetic memory of these buildings. When I go to sleep at night, well, not anymore, but when I used to, I was in places like this. This is Paris, guys. I'm in the process of trying to draw this. It's very difficult. Well, maybe not exactly this, but it looks very similar from my mind, too. Anyway, lighthouse in the middle of Paris. It's just so beautiful. So beautiful. Even these like little Bavarian like chalets stuck right there in the front of it. Absolutely lovely. And that's apparently raw footage. So there you go. So what else have I gotten here? Oh, that was a lovely little piece. I just, a little last bit there of the old Paris World Fair. And this. Right? I'm fully in love with dirigibles, with balloons, with zeppelins, like completely and utterly in love. This is my new favorite picture of all time. Hands down, favorite. When I go to sleep tonight, I'm going to think about this picture. I'm going to focus on it, and I'm really hoping I'm going to be there. Like, somewhere in there. Okay, last quick thing. This is just nuts because the toroidal sort of shapes. This is the ceiling of Crystal Palace subway, which is being restored. So, if anyone's got any information on a Crystal Palace subway, pass it along. And then a couple of last things I wanted to show you. So this is a really cool old picture of a dilapidated train station, and that's it a little further along. And I really love that because I don't often find stuff like that. I usually have to do this myself, so I just thought that was really cool. And the very last thing, oh no, that's a completely different thing for another day. But I am working on the document that Martin gave me, or Martin linked in one of his last videos, about toilets in Paris. So, working on that, guys. Anyway, I'm going to go back to this one. Yes! And hopefully you guys will settle your minds on that picture as well. Anyway, that's all I've got for tonight. I can feel my throat starting to feel scratchy again. But I wanted to say thank you everyone who's been subscribing recently, or who has subscribed recently, I should say. I'm over 200 subscribers, so thank you very, very much. I really appreciate it. I've got lots to talk about. I am a little all over the place because I kind of have ADHD. I also run a business and I homeschool, so I'm a pretty busy person, but I love doing this, and I have lots and lots to share. I have so many things to share. I have so many things have come together since I've been sick because I haven't been able to do videos, and I've been just really connecting some dots. So with that, I will bid you a good night, actually a good morning, and yeah, hope you guys are getting well rested and have a wonderful night, and I will see you hopefully very soon. Thanks again.